Welcome to the Book Review TV. Today we have author Paige Taylor. She is a fantasy best-selling author who is the creative force behind the Blood Blade Trilogy. She's known for her immersive world building, her complex characters, and emotionally driven storytelling. She began her publishing journey at a very young age. Her debut novel, Secrets Wrought in Blood, invites readers into a richly imagined world where power, loyalty, and identity collide. Welcome, Paige.
Thank you.
So
Hi.
happy to have you here today. We've known you for a while
Thank you.
now.
Yes.
You're currently writing your third book. I'm going to ask you a few questions about your
Perfect.
journey as an author. You started at a very young age. Could you tell us what first inspired you to begin writing?
Of course. I think I've always been a big reader. I love fantasy. Obviously, that's kind of my genre. I've read so many books, but I really wanted to write the book that I wanted to read. I've loved a whole bunch of the books I've read, and they've really inspired me. But there was that one that this is the kind of thing that I wish I could have picked up off the shelf and read. So I decided to write it. I've always written little stories and that through school and everything. But this is the one that I really settled on and decided I'm actually going to follow through with this because a lot of my previous ideas I started, but I didn't really have an end game with it. It was just, this is my idea. I'm going to start writing. And then it would just go nowhere. So this is the one I decided to settle on, and it was just inspired by a whole bunch of things I've read before, movies, things like that. Yeah.
How old were you when the first book was published?
I was 15 when I published the first one.
So you actually wrote other books before, like little manuscripts.
Yeah, so this one I started when I was 13, but I've started before that writing. I never got as far as this one, never as long. But I did write quite lengthy stories before and then completely scrap them because I wasn't happy with them. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
they're not very skinny books. They have a lot of pages. And you went straight into a trilogy. You knew that it was going to be a trilogy at the beginning. Um, how is that? That's a long commitment.
Yeah, I think when I first got this idea, I kind of had a rough sort of, I can put it into one book, but there's so much I want to write that if I plot this out, I can kind of split it into three. So I know kind of where I'm going to end the first one, how I can make it sort of into those three, almost three separate books, but they still come together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just kind of knew how I wanted it to start and exactly how I wanted it to end. And then from there, I just went in between, and this is going to be way too long for one book. So I just knew, I don't know, I've always kind of just wanted to write a trilogy, and I thought this would be the perfect kind of start for that. So
It definitely is. The fantasy
thank you.
world requires a lot of rich world building. How do you go about creating that? What inspires you whenever you're writing?
Yeah, I do take a lot of inspiration from, I mean, other things I've read, maps and things. So I like to not recreating those maps, but just the idea of having a map, things like that. I use Pinterest a lot for stuff like that. But it's really the world, it's so hard. I do use Pinterest a lot. I just scroll through, save things I like, and then I kind of build from that. But it is quite a hard thing to do. A lot of things just kind of come to me. And I kind of start from there, and then things will just come to me as I write. And then I'll go back and change things, add this, stuff like that. Because I do struggle with that. It does feel like there's a lot to add, to not add. And I do sometimes feel like I read other books and I'm like, this is a lot more world building than I've done. Should I have done more? Stuff like that. So, yeah.
No, you're doing great. I mean,
Thank you.
brings me to the next question. Your characters are really vivid and complex. So where do you get the inspiration for them? Are they inspired on people you know, and or do you just 100% imagination?
They're 100% imagination. In the future, maybe I'll take inspiration from people I know. Um, probably more people I don't like for the villains. But we'll see. But no, they are completely imagination. Again, I kind of just start with a rough idea and then I'll just build from that. And their kind of character relationships can kind of also help shape their own personalities, things like that. So,
Well, that's, I think you're doing great. I think you're going to get better. You have an entire life ahead of you of writing, and you can only get better. So,
I
my
hope.
last question for you is readers, your readers and aspiring authors would love to know, what is your writing process like? What are your routines? What setting inspires you to write?
Yeah. Um, I So when I first started writing the first book, I had a whole bunch, I had a wall of sticky notes where I just had all my little ideas, like this is gonna be this character, this is what they're wearing. I would sketch out all of their clothes, everything like that. Just wrote down rough notes. And then when I kind of hashed it out a little more, I kind of rewrote it in on a new notebook, just to make it a bit tidier and set my idea a little more. Um, but I take a lot of inspiration when I go back. I'm from England, so when I go back there, I take a lot of inspiration from the countryside, stuff like that. That really, the history there really helps inspire me. That setting, I would love to just sit and write in that setting if I could. But my routine, it's changed a lot from when I first started the first book to now, because it was COVID times. I was doing online school. There was like classes for like 2 hours a day type thing. So I wasn't really that busy. So I just sat literally from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, just writing my book, editing, planning things out, looking at publishers, everything like that. Now I work full time and I have graduated, but it was harder when I was working and I was in school. But now that I've graduated, I have a lot more time, even though less time in the summer, but I have a lot more time. I do the same thing. Sometimes I just pick a day and I get up early. I just write, take little breaks in between, and then just write whenever I can type thing. So,
You're doing absolutely great, and
yeah.
we wish you the absolute best. You're currently writing, I believe, your third book, right? Because I've
Yes,
seen you
I
on your
am.
on your socials.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
you're nearly there. We can't wait to
Yeah.
have it in your hands and see it and have the
Definitely.
trilogy right next to each other. It's going to be
Yes.
such a surreal moment for you. Well,
Yeah,
Paige, thank you so
100%.
much for sharing your journey, your craft,
Of
and the
course.
world behind the Blood Blade Trilogy. Your ability to blend the imagination with emotional depth leaves us just a long-lasting impression. And we're really excited to see where all these stories take us. And I am sure I'm going to be seeing this sometime, someday on the big screen because there's so much imagination. So I'm going to
Thank
come back
you.
to this video when that happens.
Perfect. I hope it's on the big screen one day. Fingers crossed. So,
It will be.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Paige.
Thank you. Thank you, Shami.